our lives are like treasure unveiled as fiction, a gift to us from spirits on high. Equator, divider, equators, providers to seek the truth beyond our sight. The secrets lie in darkness and light. A gift to us from spirits on
All right, I'm Chip Shelton, and of course, Chip is a nickname from birth. Born in West Virginia, a little coal mining town. Spent the first 12 years there, and then moved to Ohio. My first instrument was the voice, like Dwight said, but my first other instrument was drums at preschool at age 5, and my brother and my dad taught me the basics of playing drums. And I had piano lessons, and I played clarinet in the band in middle school, they call it now. And I sang in the glee club, and eventually, music was very, very prevalent in my life throughout my entire life. So, but eventually, I also went to dental school at Howard University. I led a band there, and I, moved to New York so I could study with the musical greats and study a specialty in dentistry called orthodontics. And I have maintained 2 careers, music and orthodontics, and now I'm full-time in music, having, my kids are grown now. So I just wrote a book, actually, Excel in 2 Careers, Plan B Your Dream, and my 9th CD release is coming out next month, entitled Plan B Dream Music. So that's all about, it's really targeted to tell people who are, who have an interest in having their art and a traditional career at the same time. It's a lot of juggling required, but it's some how-tos in the book, and people who have actually accomplished this type of thing. So if anybody's interested in having a copy of the book, I'll get a copy to Mr. Traeger for you. That's my introduction. For the class, does anybody know what this instrument is called?
Wow.
Take a guess. Can you
trombone?
see it? What do you think it is?
A trombone?
A trombone? That's a very good guess, because it's a long instrument like a trombone. But guess what? It's a flute. It's a bass flute. It's pretty large for a flute, isn't it? And of course, it's not the largest.
I said flute.
It's not the largest flute, but you should see my contrabass and my subcontrabass flutes, which are taller than I am, so I can't get them in this small room to show you. But the bass flute sounds like this. So, could you hear that? I just want to check my audio. You could hear that?
Maybe a little bit louder. Make it the audio a little
Okay,
bit
I was
louder.
playing it softly. Now, I'm going to add some background music. How about we do, can you say Duke Ellington? Class.
Wait.
Duke Ellington. Okay, so you might be muted. Let's do something called a blues by Duke Ellington, and it's called C Jam Blues or Duke's Place. Mr. Traeger will correct me, whichever is the correct title. And it's in C, and it has 3 chords. The first chord is C. C, C. Then it's going to go to the 4th chord, the F. C, F, 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 C, 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 G, the 5 chord. C, F, G, C. C, C. So that's a basic form that they call the blues. It's used in all types of music, pop music, jazz, the actual blues genre. You'll hear it all over the place. Now you know how to play the blues. 3 chords, the basic blues. Any questions about the blues?
Does anybody have any questions for either Mr. West or Mr. Sheldon?
No.
No? Okay.
Mr. Sheldon, you played multiple instruments. What
Yeah.
is your instrument, like your favorite instrument? What do you prefer to play of all the ones you're able to do?
All the ones I'm able to do. Well,
Your favorite?
actually, I have many favorites because on a given day, I'll start out with maybe the smallest flute called the piccolo, and actually the leader of the Spirit of Life ensemble, which Dwight and I both play in, he calls me Piccolo as a nickname because, well, that's a long story, but my other nickname is Piccolo. So maybe that's one of my favorite instruments, but I really love saxophone, bass clarinet, and a bunch of other things. Like, for instance, what are these? Anybody in the class? What do you think these instruments are?
Well, you know.
I know what that is.
Anybody know what instruments? They're kind of rare. You don't see them. You don't see them all the time. Somebody said trombone.
Saxophones.
Okay, so one of these, both of these are saxophones. You can see one is longer than the other, but you hardly ever see either of these because they're very rare. This one is extremely rare. It's called a sopranino saxophone. This one is called a soprano saxophone. And the soprano saxophone is in the same key as a tenor saxophone. It's only, it sounds higher. This one, the sopranino, is in the same key as an alto saxophone, only higher. So I think this one is my favorite instrument along with the piccolo, the soprano saxophone. But thank you for that question.
Yeah, let's hear something.
Want to hear something on piccolo?
'Cause I don't
Can
think
you-
they realize the difference.
This is by Freddie Hubbard. Can you say Freddie Hubbard, class?
Say Freddie Hubbard.
Freddie Hubbard.
Hubbard.
All right, and it's called Little Sunflower. This is a very, very appropriate song for the springtime. Little Sunflower. And that's Little Sunflower. If I can turn it off. Little Sunflower by Freddie Hubbard. On what instrument? What's it called?
Piccolo.
Piccolo. The smallest flute.
And I see Mr. Williams just walked in.
I got a little something on that soprano saxophone if the kids want to hear what that soprano saxophone sounds like.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
That's a yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Can you say John Coltrane? He's the composer of a song, John Coltrane. He's the composer of this song called Equinox. And we played a blues earlier. This is a modified blues. This is in a minor key called Equinox. worlds turn around us. We search for a balance. The secrets lie in darkness and light. Our lives are like treasures unveiled as fiction, a gift to us from spirits on high. Equinox, equinox. All right, Equinox on soprano saxophone and vocal. Thank you.
Nice.
That's wonderful.
Good job.
Thank you. And you did a good job. You named some very interesting instruments you never saw before.
Over there, cool boy, NC. I don't know why they're so shy today.
Good job. Good job.
Video, NC.
That's even good.
There we go. Let's see the real thumb. There we go. Okay. All right. So I want to thank everybody for coming today. I want to
I
thank.
wish to show them one of my songs and let's see what they think about it.